Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, this is Primetime Asia, and I'm Malini Jaini. Tonight in our leading story, Primetime Asia highlights how China and New Zealand, two major countries in the Asia-Pacific region, are striving to promote their strategic partnership to a higher level. The Chinese president says the two countries should expand their economic and trade cooperation and not just focus on traditional sectors like agriculture and husbandry. The 2015 China Internet Conference kicked off in Beijing earlier this week. It's the 14th China Internet Conference and is themed Industrial Integration, Interconnectivity and Sharing. Cloud computing, Internet of Things, online medical treatment and education, Internet financing and security are just some of the issues that will be covered during the three-day conference. Also in China, tragedy as 3 people are killed and 23 others injured after an explosive device was ignited in a park in Shanxian County of East China's Shandong province on Monday night. Siti Hajar Haji Muhammad Mahathir has the reports.
Chinese President Xi Jinping held talks with New Zealand Governor-General Jerry Matapari on Tuesday in Beijing, and the two sides agreed to work hard together to promote their strategic partnership to a higher level. The president said the two countries should expand their economic and trade cooperation and not just focusing on traditional sectors like agriculture and husbandry. He said the two sides should explore more cooperation fields, including food security, biological medicine, new energy and infrastructure. Xi said China and New Zealand are both important countries in the Asia-Pacific region, and the two have many common interests in promoting regional stability and development. As this year marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the United Nations, Xi said China would like to work together with the international community, including New Zealand, to safeguard the fruits of victory of the Second World War and the basic norms guiding international relations in accordance with the UN Charter. Matapari said although New Zealand and China face different national situations, the two sides do have many similar views on quite a lot of issues, such as global climate change. New Zealand would like to work together with China to help small island countries in the Southern Pacific Ocean region within the framework of United Nations and Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. The 2015 China Internet Conference kicked off in Beijing Tuesday. Under the theme of industrial integration, interconnectivity and sharing, the three-day conference covers various aspects of the Chinese internet sector, including cloud computing, Internet of Things, online medical treatment and education, internet financing and security. Nearly 30 forums will be held. Leaders of the Chinese internet giants and leading enterprises will participate in the forums, showing cutting-edge technologies, sharing the latest successful business cases, and discussing the future of the Chinese internet industry. In addition, several internet reports and guidelines are also expected to be released during the conference, including the 2015 Guidelines on Protection of Rights and Interests of Chinese Internet Users and the 2015 Report on the Development of Chinese Internet Finance. Three people were killed, 23 others were injured after an explosive device was ignited in a park in Shanxian County of East China's Shandong province on Monday night. Footage recorded by surveillance cameras showed that a fierce explosion was touched off among people relaxing in a park at about 10:30 in the evening on Monday night. Seconds after the explosion, plumes of thick smoke were seen and frightened survivors were seen running away from the park. Police investigation showed that the explosive was placed by a local resident who was killed in the explosion, and his motive of causing the blast is still being investigated.
Welcome back. Primetime Asia looks to Japan as Toshiba's top brass bow out over inflated profits. CEO Hisao Tanaka stepped down after a probe into the company's books found it had overstated profits by about $1.2 billion over the past 7 years. Meanwhile, in Chile, former military officials are arrested on suspicion of being involved in the 1986 burning of students in a protest against the Pinochet dictatorship. Also in Chile, workers employed by service contractors at Chile's state-owned Codelco, the world's top copper miner, go on strike and block roads over benefits demands. And heavy snowfall and strong winds in central and southern Chile batter agricultural production amidst a worsening economic slowdown. Here's Siti Hajar Haji Muhammad Mahathir again with the details.
Top brass at Japan's Toshiba Corp.
Japan's Toshiba Corp's president and CEO Hisao Tanaka and his two predecessors announced their resignations on Tuesday as an independent probe into the company's books found it had overstated profits by about $1.2 billion over the past 7 years. The panel also shined a light on the corporate culture which discourages subordinates from going against their bosses and found that upper management was aware of the irregularities. Toshiba stocks rose over 6% during Tuesday trade as investors were actually cheered that the release report had few nasty surprises, but the share value is still down about 20% from the announcement of the investigation into its bookkeeping in April. Toshiba is one of Japan's largest conglomerates with several divisions ranging from electronics to nuclear power. And the scandal may have other major players in Japan Inc. worried, as Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's push for corporate governance reform, still in its early stages, puts immense pressure on businesses to clean up their acts.
Over the past 7 years. The panel also shined a light on the corporate culture, which discourages subordinates from going against their bosses, and found that upper management.
2 former army officers and 5 former non-commissioned officers were arrested in Chile on Tuesday, accused of killing a U.S. resident and photographer, Rodrigo Rojas, and severely injuring student Carmen Gloria Quintana by setting fire to them during a protest in 1986. All 7 have been identified as possible suspects as part of an ongoing investigation into the crime by Judge and President of the Chilean Court of Appeal, Mario Carroza. The case, which involves one of the heinous crimes committed during the 17-year dictatorship of General Augusto Pinochet, was reopened in 2013 after a human rights organization filed a complaint on behalf of Rojas's family, according to the New York Times. The officers accused led 2 separate military patrols. The commander of a 3rd patrol was not included, as he had already been sentenced in 1991. The arrests come after a former soldier, Fernando Guzman, who was 18 at the time, testified in court last year. He accused one of the officers of ordering a soldier to pour gasoline on Rojas and Quintana and taunting them with a lighter. The judge did not issue arrest warrants for the 17 soldiers who obeyed commander's orders. General Pinochet suggested the 2 had set themselves on fire with material they were carrying to build barricades, denying the involvement of the army, which threatened and obliged soldiers to remain silent, Guzman said. The victims were dumped in the outskirts of Santiago, where they were found by local workers and taken to a police station and to hospital. Rojas died 4 days later, and Quintana remained severely disfigured, undergoing 40 operations and many years of medical treatment and therapy. Guzman said he had met with other military personnel to agree on their versions of the incident, and that until last year he had been too afraid of what might be done against his family should he speak out. The accused will be asked to give their versions of events over the coming weeks. Workers employed by service contractors at Chile's state-owned Codelco, the world's top copper mine, went on strike on Tuesday to demand the right to negotiate collectively a benefits package similar to that offered to the company's direct employees. Codelco said in a statement that 5 of its sites were partially affected by the work stoppage, in which workers affiliated with the Confederation of Copper Workers, CTC, blocked roads and set up barricades. Codelco did not specify which facilities were affected. Speaking to the media, workers' representatives were taking direct aim at the management. The union added the strike was affecting all facets of Codelco's operations, including copper production. Codelco has said that benefits for the contract workers are the responsibility of the service companies that employ them. The union said on its website that the strike was a consequence of the company's total lack of willingness to negotiate changes in benefits for the contract workers. Union leader Patricia Vargas said the union would not back down. Demonstrators used bonfires and vehicles to barricade roads, causing traffic jams. Codelco, in its statement, called on the workers to talk about the benefits with the service companies that they work for. Codelco saw its profit decline by 22% in 2014, mainly due to a fall in copper prices. However, the Chilean government has been injecting billions of dollars into the company as part of an ambitious investment plan to revamp older mines and build new ones. Freezing temperatures and strong winds in central and southern Chile are having drastic consequences for agricultural production in the region, adding further pressure to an economic slowdown battering the government's waning popularity. Chile's National Meteorological Service issued a weather warning on Sunday regarding strong winds in the Andes mountain range, reaching between 80 and 100 kilometers an hour. Heavy snowfall is expected to accompany the winds, affecting various provinces. Temperatures reached minus 2.9 degrees Celsius last Saturday morning in the high mountainous region of Las Cuevas. The temperatures and heavy snowfall have provided a real challenge for farmers, where fodder to feed their livestock has been largely destroyed. Falling trees have been reported, leaving hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses without electricity in recent weeks. Some agricultural producers in the valleys around the Chopa and Limaria rivers have reportedly abandoned their land and destroyed what remains of their crops, according to local media. Aid arrived by boat in Magallanes, but those affected fear it will not be sufficient as fresh snowfall is expected to come.
La cantidad de unas 370,000 cajas que íbamos a producir esta temporada. Plantitas.
Start.
A Russian Soyuz rocket carrying a 3-man crew bound for the International Space Station blasted off on Wednesday from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, a NASA TV broadcast showed. The 16-story rocket lifted off at 21:02 GMT to deliver veteran Russian cosmonaut Oleg Kononenko and rookie astronauts Kjell Lindgren with NASA and Japan's Kimiya Yoi into orbit. They were due to reach the station, a $100 billion research laboratory that flies about 418 kilometers above Earth. The trio had been set to fly in May, but Russia delayed the mission after a botched launch of a similar Soyuz rocket on April 28. That accident stranded a Progress cargo ship in an orbit too low to reach the station. 9 days later, the capsule, loaded with 3 tons of equipment and supplies, fell back into Earth's atmosphere and was incinerated. Accident investigators determined that the Progress failed to separate properly from the Soyuz rocket's third-stage engine. The Soyuz returned to flight on July 3, successfully launching a replacement load of cargo to the station. 2 U.S. companies that fly cargo to the station under contract with the U.S. Space Agency also lost capsules after recent failed launches. Privately owned SpaceX and Orbital ATK remained grounded following accidents last month and in October 2014 respectively. A 4th station resupply line is operated by Japan, which is scheduled to fly again in August. The arrival of Lindgren, 42, Kononenko, 51, and Yoi, 45, will return the space station to a full 6-member crew for the first time in 6 weeks. Kelly and Russia's Mikhail Kornienko are participating in the station's first year-long duration mission. Also aboard is veteran cosmonaut Gennady Padalka, the current station commander.
Tall spacecraft, 13.5 feet in diameter. The single engine with 4 fuel chambers providing between 170.
Hey, nice to meet you. Hey.
So my name is John.
Bayern Munich Mario Götze scored the winning goal in his side's victory over Inter Milan in a pre-season friendly in Shanghai on Tuesday, July 21, and said that he had received some special training that made the difference during the match. Götze took time out from his busy pre-season regime for Pep Guardiola's Bayern side to learn some Chinese material arts from expert Cecilia. Cecilia, who admitted she was a huge Bayern Munich and Götze fan, taught Götze some material art poses that could improve his core and balance, key skills for any professional soccer. Götze appeared to enjoy the change of pace and was happy to sign a Bayern shirt for a delighted Cecilia. After his goal, which gave Bayern a 1-0 victory over the Italian giants, Götze said respect, a key component of Chinese martial arts, had been the key in his match-winning performance.
Hope you like the Chinese
Thanks,
martial arts.
great.
Actually,
No
I'm your fan.
Well, that's it for this week's Primetime Asia. We'll be back at the same time next week with other interesting news and features. To catch our Primetime Asia portal video, you can visit our website at www.rtbnews.rtb.gov.bn. I'm Malini Jani wishing you Selamat Hari Raya and joyful week ahead and good night. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.